Okay, here is our blank paper to do our mapping. Remember, it is the process of the mapping that we need to understand. And so we are going to turn our paper horizontal so that we can use all of the space that is on it, because we do have a lot of stuff to add. So go ahead, grab your pen, your pencil. I'm going to color code mine. You don't have to color code yours, but I'm going to color code mine. We're going to draw the eye, the nose, and the chin. And when I say I am talking about the area that was always watching, and that is of course going to be England, or as we call it, Britain. It is going to be a part of the continent of Europe, and we call it the nose because they were nosy about what's going on. Sometimes they get involved, sometimes they don't. That is going to be none other than Spain and France. And then the chin, holding up our economic system, is going to be from the continent of Africa. All right, 1492, Columbus sails the ocean blue. The Spanish are going to set an expedition to go out across the Atlantic Ocean. Which purse are they taking? They're taking their economic purse, of course, because they're trying to open up a trading route over the water to get to Asia. They want those gold, silks, and spices. So there is my economic, trying to get to India and China for those gold, silks, and spices. Do they make it there? The answer is, of course, no. They don't make it there. Instead, they land in the New World, so we're going to draw that. Of course, I'm not going to draw it to scale. I'm going to draw it very, very big so that I can label inside of it. Start up at the corner, go across, dip down, hook around, down, hook, bump, bump, and across and up. There we go. All right, here we go. This land right here, this is called my old world. My land I just drew right here is, of course, my new world. First thing we're going to do is we are going to label geographical features. So when the Spanish were crossing, trying to find that route going to the west, that was, of course, across the Atlantic Ocean. I'm going to go ahead and abbreviate at this point because we've already done a lot of the map. So we're going to use abbreviations. Of course, when we do get our first colonists here, blocking that westward expansion, that natural barrier, is the Appalachian Mountains. To help create a waterway to connect the Midwest to the East Coast is none other than the Great Lakes. To remember the Great Lakes, we tell ourselves homes, Lake Huron, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Superior. America's highway, travel, trade, transportation is none other than the Mississippi River. It's going to flow into the Gulf of Mexico. Flowing into the Gulf of Mexico is flowing into the Mississippi River is our Ohio River, creating that good fertile soil. And then, of course, we also have the Missouri River. I remember the miserable journey of Lewis and Clark. Next river right here, this is none other than our boundary for Texas. It is our Rio Grande right there. And then as we move further westward, our mountains that were hard to get over, the Rocky Mountains. And then all the way on the west coast, can't forget these mountains right here. This is none other than the Sierra Nevada Mountains. And then Manifest Destiny, sea to shining sea, is the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. First thing we're going to label is our explorers, our exploration for historical geography. And I am, of course, going to start with my Spanish. My Spanish come to the south, and they go to the south. They go down into Mexico, Central America, and South America, and they go west. When I think about the Spanish and why they came, what purse do they take? They're going to bring their economic purse to start. They want to find riches, trade routes. They also have their political purse to claim land for the king. And then they want to convert the natives to the Catholic religion. So there's my religious from my purse. Next is how do they treat the natives? Remember, in the beginning, these savage Spanish slaveholders, they are not very nice to the natives. Moving on, my next group is going to be none other than the French, and we call them our friendly French fur traders. So we know that they are economic, and then they are going to be political to claim land. When they claim that land up that Mississippi River, right here at the Gulf of Mexico, they are going to create an important port city, and that is, of course, New Orleans right there. My next group is going to be the English. We're going to write it off here because we are going to label things on here. The English, we know they go to Jamestown, Virginia. That is, of course, economic. Plymouth, Massachusetts is religious, my Puritans. They are political to claim land, and then social, they want a better life. How do the English treat the natives? The economic English evict natives. So we know that they try to move them across the land, and that idea is going to be adopted later by our Americans. In going from the New World to the Old World, they are going to trade products. Products are going to go from the Old World to the New World, and then from the New World to the Old World. This is going to be called the Columbian Exchange. And the Columbian Exchange, who is it going to hurt the most? It hurts the New World, the transfer of diseases that comes from the Old World to the New World when they exchange that livestock. What is it that all of these countries are looking for? They are, of course, still looking for a Northwest Passage. A Northwest Passage that will take them around the New World so they can trade with Asia. Do they ever find one? The answer is no. So then we get our first colonists, and when we talk about colonies, we are going to specifically talk about the English, and so that is going to be our mother country. So I'm going to go ahead and put a crown on England. There's my mother country. First permanent English colony is going to be none other than Jamestown, Virginia, right about there. And when I think about Jamestown, I say, oh, they came for economic reasons. They wanted to find gold. They couldn't find gold, so instead they planted tobacco. My next group is going to be, of course, the Puritans that go to Plymouth, and they are searching for religious freedom. So Plymouth, Massachusetts, right up there. Now, these two colonies eventually turn into 13. We get 3 colonial regions, and the reason they are regions is they have commonalities. When we divide it into 3, we need to remember that our New England colonies, it was cold. The soil was rocky. They're going to have shipbuilding. They're going to have hunting. They're going to have fishing. They're going to have trading. They are not going to be farmers. And they are dominated by a religious lifestyle. They are dominated by those Puritans that go there. How do I remember my New England colonies? I tell myself, my New Hampshire runs in circles. Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. Then we have our mid-Atlantic or middle colonies, and we call them the breadbasket. So there's my economic from my purse, and they are also a melting pot. So there is my social. They are the most accepting of others. And in those middle colonies, we have New York police need jelly donuts. New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and of course, Delaware. Inside these middle colonies, we do have one that is going to be religious. That is going to be none other than Pennsylvania, William Penn, and the Quakers. So I put a little bitty cross right up there. It is a breadbasket. They do grow grains, milder winters, better summers so that they can farm some things. Of course, my big farming, where it is best, is going to be in these southern colonies. That's how they're going to get the plantation system. So they are, of course, economic with their cash crops. To remember my southern colonies, my very nice cousin sends Christmas gifts. Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. In the South, one of these is a religious colony that is none other than Mary. For the Catholics, the act of toleration, accepting other people in. So Maryland is a religious colony. Our colonies, if you notice, they are all on the coast. You have this long coastline here, of course, so that they can connect to their mother country in trade, connect to England, keep that connection. In order to have good trading, they have to have some good port cities. In New England, it is going to be none other than Boston, Massachusetts. So there is a B and a triangle. In the middle, it is New York City. Right there, and there is my triangle. And in the south, I got Charleston, South Carolina. Right there, that is a C with a triangle. Thinking about how they are trading, it creates a triangular trade. Coming out of the colonies and sending it to its mother country or Europe is going to be raw materials. natural resources, cash crops. They do send that to England and Europe. It also goes to Africa. England and Europe are going to turn it into stuff, so they will send things back. They will also send things to Africa. Those are called manufactured goods. So if it's coming out of England or Europe, it is manufactured goods. And then in this triangular trade, we do know that their greatest export was unfortunately going to be enslaved people coming out of Africa. That is going to be one of their largest exports that you see coming from there. There we go. All right, in this triangular trade, who is going to make the most money? It is going to be none other than the mother country, England. And so we remind ourselves what that is called. It is mercantilism, mother, country's money. Mercantilism, mother country's money. Mercantilism right there. England is going to make the most, Europe, because they create colonies for the benefit of the mother countries. Our colonies are doing good. They are prospering. It is better for a person to live within the colonies. They'll be 2 inches taller. They'll have more food to eat. Their life will last longer. And so these colonists are going to look for land. They want to move past the Appalachian Mountains. They're going to look for it in the Ohio River Valley, but it's already been claimed by the French. That's going to result in the French and Indian War. It is our British versus our French and our Indians. As that war goes on, guerrilla warfare, camouflage, snipers, learning all these different techniques, George Washington is introduced to warfare. At the end of the war, if we recall, colonists are good, they are excited, they are ready to move, but the king says, stop. And he says, stop right at the Appalachian Mountains. So there's my imaginary line drawn down the Appalachians. He says, stop. You can't go. I don't want to fight with the natives. And the colonists say, but why did we fight? We fought for this land. We died for this land, and now we can't go. How do we remember what they say stop in? Well, we say Appalachian Proclamation. Proclamation, Appalachian, Appalachian Proclamation. It is the proclamation of 1763. The king says, nope, you don't get to move. And so now the colonists are upset. And then the king says, oh, by the way, I need you to pay for the war debts. And the colonists don't want to pay for the war debts, but the king passes some acts, the Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, the Tea Act, that says you have to pay the tax. Where are we going to have a lot of those major early upsets? Well, it's going to be none other than Boston, Massachusetts. So there is my star for my American Revolution. Lots of early upsets there. The Boston Massacre, Crispus Attucks is killed. The Boston Tea Party with the Sons of Liberty. And then the Intolerable Acts. Why? Boston was an important port city. They were affected by these taxes and these acts coming from England. And so we get our American Revolution. We have our fighting in our American Revolution. The colonists are upset. The king is upset. They're going to fight. We declare independence. We'll do the battles and stuff for the American Revolution. That's done on our Timeline Tuesday. But for the mapping, at the end of the war, we need to recognize the United States is going to be a new country. It's going to start at the Atlantic Ocean, and its boundary is going to be the Mississippi River right there. So all of this land in here, 13 states, territories, this is my United States of America and the Treaty of Paris, 1783. I have 13 states that have their boundaries. They are defined. And then we have this territory here, all the way over here. And they don't know, are they going to become states? Are they going to be a part of the existing states? So our Articles of Confederation is going to set up a system for territories to become states. And they start that right here in the Northwest Territory with the Northwest Ordinance. If you do these things, if you have a certain population, if you outlaw slavery, if you have representative government, if you promise freedom of religion, then you can apply to become states. And we will see that within our Northwest Territory. Unfortunately, our Articles of Confederation are not going to last very long. They're not going to do very good. And so we do get the Constitution in 1787. In our Constitution in 1787, we also get our first presidents. How do we remember our presidents? Will and Jill make more Quaker Apple Jacks. Will is Washington. Washington's dealing with stuff domestically. He's not expanding to the map. And that is Adams, John Adams. He has the XYZ affair. He has the Alien and Sedition Act. We're not adding anything to the map. President's number 3, Will and Jill. That is Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson is going to double the size of the United States when he makes the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. He's going to add the land from the Mississippi River over to the Rocky Mountains. I know my map's not to scale, but I promise you it doubles the size of the USA right there. So he is going to double the size of the United States when he makes that purchase. And of course, who does he send out to explore it? 2 men are going to lead an expedition. They're going to follow the Missouri River, the miserable journey on the Missouri River. It's going to be none other than Lewis and Clark, 2 by 2 like Noah's Ark. Will and Jill make M.A., that is Madison. He's got the War of 1812. Will and Jill make more James Monroe. Will and Jill make more James Monroe. He's got a few things that he's going to do right here. He's going to add this piece of land right here. It is going to be Florida. We're going to get it in 1819 in the Adams-Onis Treaty. We're going to add Florida with the Adams-Onis Treaty. If we remember, enslaved people were escaping down into Florida, and so Monroe had sent soldiers there and says, we just invaded. Oh, there's an announcement. I can't stop. I'm so sorry. And I don't want to start over my video, so we're just going to listen. No tennis match. But this is rescheduled from today for Monday, and we're going to be doing this on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I apologize. All right, so Florida, 1819, the Adams-Onis Treaty. James Monroe is also going to have to deal with this land right here. And with dealing with this land, it's those territories and deciding, can they have slaves? And so he's going to listen to Henry Clay, where they're going to compromise in the Missouri Compromise at this line. This is the 3630 line. Above this line, the territories will be free, except Missouri. Below this line, the territories will be slave, except Missouri. It's above it. And then in the Missouri Compromise, every time you had a free state, slave state, free state, they're trying to keep the balance of power equal, thinking, we won't have a civil war. Little did they know. All right, it is Monroe. It is the era of good feelings. They're feeling pretty good. They just had the War of 1812. Look, we were able to stand up to Great Britain. And so he looks over at England, he looks over at Europe, and he tells them, stay out of the Americas. We will handle it. He does this in the Monroe Doctrine. Stay out. Don't come over. We don't need your help. In the Monroe Doctrine. And he doesn't say that just for us here. He also says it for Central America and South America. No more building new countries, new territories. Colonies. I'm sorry, that's the right word. No more building new colonies. If you already got a colony, you can keep it, but don't come over here for more. President number 6 is John Quincy Adams. Sorry, I ain't got nothing for him. President number 7 is none other than Andrew Jackson, the best president until he was the worst president. Probably our most complicated man because he did some great things. He got rid of our national debt. He brought the common man in, expanded suffrage so more people could vote. But we can't forget what he did because what he did was really bad. He ignores that Worcester versus Georgia court case. Worcester versus Georgia, it said the Cherokees could stay on their land. Jackson says no, they can't. And so he is going to sign the Indian Removal Act that is going to move Cherokees west of the Mississippi River to reservations. This is in none other than the Trail of Tears. Horrible thing that he did, in which we had lots of people die and taking their land, putting them on reservations that weren't any place that anybody actually wanted to live at. The land was not any good there. And so it was a horrible thing that he did. All right. Now we're going to move into westward expansion. And in looking at our westward expansion, we're of course going to start with Texas. Ooh, that is too much like that pink I already have. I'm going to try to do red. Here we go. We got Texas. We're going to annex Texas in 1845. Texas is going to be annexed. Of course, we can't forget that it does start the Mexican-American War over that boundary dispute. At the same time we're annexing Texas, we also got the Oregon Territory in 1846. People had been moving to Oregon for that fertile soil. Oregon, of course, was claimed by the United States, Russia, Spain, and Britain. Well, Russia and Spain, they just kind of go away. But with Britain, we decide to divide that territory, all of this right now, at the 49th parallel. Anything below it can be claimed by the United States. Above it is going to be the British Canada. Going back to Texas, 1845, when we annexed it, because we annexed it, it causes the Mexican-American War. At the end of the Mexican-American War, the United States in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo is going to give Mexico $15 million. And on the flip side, we're going to get the Mexican cession in 1848. And so, we got this land. Mexico's happy. They thought they got money. Little did they know there was gold right there, gold up there in San Francisco. Those little mining towns are going to turn into big cities. People are going to rush west, the 49ers. The Chinese are going to come from Asia. Chinese. Of course, looking for economic opportunities. More people are moving west. We get right down here. We need this land right here. This is going to be our Gadsden Purchase in 1853. More people are going west. Those that are going up to Oregon, they are going to take what we call the Oregon Trail. The largest group that is going to go to like Utah, Nevada, right straight across, this is going to be none other than the Mormons. They are seeking religious freedom. They are being persecuted in the east. That is called the Mormon Trail. And then, of course, coming down south is the Santa Fe Trail. Right there. Now, what would be easier to make your way west? It would be easier if you could take the Transcontinental Railroad. That is why they make the Gadsden Purchase, so that they can build it around the Rocky Mountains. So we are expanding as we go westward. Looking at our map, let's not forget that we do have some innovations going on in the east, and one of those innovations is going to be none other than the Erie Canal. It's going to connect my Great Lakes to my New York City right there. My Erie Canal is going to connect them. I think about my trading that is going to go on. That is my boat right there. It is an artificial waterway that connects two natural bodies of water. My Erie Canal is going to do that. So I'm going to label that with an E and a C. E-C. In the north, we see our factories. In the south, we have our planting. We are seeing a greater divide. We are seeing this sectionalism between my north and my south. And with that, I think back to that 3630 line, and I can pretty much go ahead in that 3630 line and know that we're going to be divided between the north and the south at what we call the Mason-Dixon line. This is my Mason-Dixon line between the north and the south that is going to start us in the Civil War. And of course, that is the north who had more immigrants, factories, and the south in the Civil War, my Confederacy, led by Jefferson Davis, having the long growing season, the plantations, the farming. And of course, they think that Lincoln, who was elected president, was going to try to get rid of their slaves. Lincoln is saying, no, I won't. Didn't matter to them. They're going to declare their independence and attempt to secede from the United States of America.